subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today. A bright and, depending on which part of the country you are in, pleasant or sunny Saturday. We are here today with another session of our health webinar series. And today we have here with us a dermatologist and a cosmetologist, Dr. Kritu Bhandari. And we have invited her to speak about skin care for seniors. But before we hand it over to her, a little about Dr. Bhandari. Dr. Bhandari is an MD in dermatology and cosmetology, and she boasts extensive training from the Sri Ramachandra Medical College and Research Institute in Chennai. As founder and former director of Skinscape Clinic, she brings years of experience having worked with various medical groups such as Columbia Asia Hospital, Kaya Skin Clinic, and the Apollo Clinics. Dr. Bhandari is certified in lasers and aesthetic procedures from the National Skin Center in Singapore and training under renowned dermatologists globally. Specializing in facial aesthetics, she excels in minimally invasive procedures like botox, fillers, and thread lifts. Her expertise extends to skin rejuvenation, anti-aging techniques, including lasers, chemical peels, and non-ablative methods. Dr. Bhandari is now co-founder of Orijine Clinic, which she set up 5 years back, and continues to make significant contributions to the field of dermatology and cosmetology. Welcome to Health Live at Seniors Today, Dr. Bhandari. How have you been?
Thank you so much, Mr. Maheshwari, and thank you for this opportunity to share a topic and talk on a topic which is very, very close to my heart. So I'm excited. Of course, webinars can be a little lull, but I promise that I'd make it as interesting as possible and as interactive as possible. So, just a few would share few points on what is really needed, and then love to have a Q&A session.
I'm sure it'll be good fun. Tell me something before and people are just coming into the room.
Sure.
And they're accessing us on YouTube. Tell me, in the pie of your patients who come, how many of them are seniors and how many are young things who want a better skin, etc.
So the entire scenario's changed post-COVID, honestly, where pre-COVID, I would say obviously a lot of younger generation. Surprisingly, post-COVID, post-2020, the ratio of, I wouldn't say the ratio is reversed, but the ratios definitely, I see a lot of people post-50 now. So in my clinic, my patient rate, my youngest patient is somewhere around 15 years for aesthetic concerns. And actually the oldest one is around 85 years. And she has been the most regular patient that I've come across. So yeah. So it's a mix. Yeah, yes, 85, absolutely. And she's so, it's so inspirational because my consultation room is on the first level. And till date, she would climb upstairs to meet me. And that's something that's commendable. It's so much to learn from her. But yeah, that's how dedicated she is and people are. Yeah.
So I guess interest levels and we've seen over here in our health webinar series as well, when we started, we were not very sure whether people above the age of 60 or 70 or 80 would be attending our health webinar. But, we have a fair number of them. In fact, we don't take questions from people who are under 60. So,
okay.
that is any...
All right. That's good and surprising that 60 plus also have a lot of questions, and I'm hoping this inquisitiveness just continues.
Absolutely, and I hope it does. And it's good for it's good that people are coming forward. I'm not saying that it's good for people are attending these. People have issues, but it's good that they're coming forward and they are also embracing the online medium to ask questions, which they would otherwise. Hesitant about.
Right.
So, before I hand over to you, we have Dr. Kritu Bhandari in the house. She's a dermatologist and cosmetologist, and she's going to be speaking about skin care for seniors. Those of you who have questions, you can put them in the Q&A tab and also mention your age and gender so that, if that information is relevant, then she could give you a more appropriate answer. Over to you for your presentation.
Thank you so much. So let me just begin by sharing the screen. So I'm going to go off the video. I'll have my screen shared. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely okay. Continue to be on the video. You can continue to be on the video as well. I will actually go off the video. Yeah.
No, so because I think the connectivity would be better if I'm a little off video. I, of course, show my face on and off, but you guys are going to get a lot of me later on anyway. So, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, just, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is. It is visible. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. Hi, good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Kritu Bhandari, and thank you so much, Mr. Maheshwari, once again for the very kind introduction and opportunity for me to kind of spread the awareness, deal with a lot of misconceptions that most of us have regarding skin and hair, right? So yes, I am the co-founder of the Orijine Clinic, which is an amalgamation of dermatology, cosmetology, and Ayurveda. And this is a beautiful, unheard concept because Ayurveda and skin or allopathy can be very, very contradictory. But my sister, who's the MD in Ayurveda, she's a physician. And I, 5 years ago, decided to bring the two sciences together and provide a holistic approach to whatever concerns that we can. Yeah. Yes, I am Dr. Kritu Bhandari. Well, a journey to healthy aging. As I mentioned, that I'm here to guide most of you through the process of maintaining that healthy and radiant skin. And when I talk about radiant skin, I'm not talking about a glow or fair skin. It's just very important to have a very healthy and good skin, correct? Because that reflects a lot of what's happening inside us. So that's how I'm going to begin the journey. I love this quote by Dr. Howard Murad, which states, aging is a fact of life, but looking your age is not. I think this very much resonates with what's going on in my mind with my philosophy, where having a good skin, a great skin is not just about looking good or feeling good in our youthful days, but it's also a good skin till we exist, right? And hence, to guide you through the journey of healthy skin, let us understand the basic principle about why skin is important, right? So before getting into the facts of what exactly happens as we age, not just biologically, physiologically, but also what are the changes that happen onto your skin, we need to first understand why is skin important. Now, for me, skin is not just an organ of vanity. It is a very, very important and a very crucial organ because, number one, it's a large organ. It's actually the organ which covers the entire body, head to toe. Most of us take it for granted कि अरे skin तो ठीक हो जाएगा, but no, it is a very, very large and a very important organ. It's also a very dynamic organ, which means it is ever changing. Your skin would behave something else in the morning, your skin would behave something else in the evening. It's something in the winters, it's something in the summers. It's something when you were in your 20s, it was something else when you were in your 30s, and now it's something else post 50s. So it is a very dynamic, it is a living organ. So we need to appreciate, we need to respect the fact. Another point is it's a mirror. It's a classical mirror of what's happening in your external environment in terms of all that abuses that's happening outside, like your sun, your dust, your pollution. All that is a toll that's taken up by your skin. The skin bears the brunt of this all. Not just your external self, also the internal self, correct? Now, what's happening inside your body? The skin is the first organ to pick it up. Now, any person with hypothyroid, skin has those cues which when picked up leads to a diagnosis of hypothyroid, for instance. So it is a mirror of what's happening externally and internally. Now, like I mentioned, it's not just a organ of vanity, but a lot of times I think it also boosts your confidence. It is a lot to do with your psychological aspect. So, one day my skin looks good and I feel confident. Next day, I am not so, my skin's not really looking healthy and I'm low on confidence. And this honestly goes a lot to the younger generation, to the current existing Gen Z, where everything, where they need a validation for everything, right? So confidence booster becomes a major part when the skin really, really looks good. Lastly, why is skin important is because it is the first impression that a person creates on others. Now, when you walk into a room where you have like 10 people for a meeting, for instance, or you're meeting your friends for a kitty, you're meeting a friend after a long time, and the moment you enter the room, the first impression that's created of you is through your skin. So if you have a shabby skin, it speaks a lot about you. But when you have like a presentable skin, a neat, glowing, healthy skin, it just speaks very different of you. So in a nutshell, I think skin is not just an organ where, no, I don't need to look good because I'm not young anymore. No, that's a complete myth. I think even at the age of 50, 60, or an 85-year-old, skin carries the most important aspect of our life. Moving forward. Yes, so sorry, can I just go back? Yes. Now I would move on to what are the changes that happen when you're aging, when the skin is aging. Now I'd love to share this analogy. Now think of your skin, of all the layers of your skin, as a vertical tower, as a 5-6 story building. A skin comprises of a superficial layer known as the epidermis, which could be your terrace, for instance. Now that's the layer where all your dead cells have built up. Okay. The next layer, the first level, could be your dermis, which comprises of your collagen, the most important amino acids, your proteins, your elastic fibers, your hyaluronic acids, your pigment producing cells, etc., etc. So that's the second layer, which is a very, very important layer when it comes to the texture of the skin. The third layer of the building would be a superficial fat. Now, all of us know that we have a lot of fat in our body. Talking about primarily the facial structure, the third layer would be superficial fat. Going down, you then have your muscle layer, you have your ligament layer, which is responsible for all your expressions, because we as humans are very, very expressive. We express a lot. So that's the layer which is responsible for all our expressions. Going down, we then have a deep fat pad, which is again responsible for all that cushioning, for that protection. And the last layer is your bones, that's your skull. So starting from your epidermis to your dermis, to then your superficial fat, your muscles, your deep fat, and the bone. That's the structure that comprises of your skin. And the reason why I get into a little bit of anatomy is the changes that are happening with aging are happening at all these levels, correct? So it's not just about, oh, I am 60 and I have a wrinkle. No, but you can also deal with superficial lines, pigmentation, acne, open pores, all of that, because all these layers of your skin are something that's undergoing a rapid change. And why are these changes happening? One, gravity. Through the years, has always been a gravitational pull, and that also exists on your face. There's a lot of, as I said, external abuses, internal abuses that have been present, and that's all that's accumulated through all these years. And then suddenly one fine day, when the collagen is breaking down, when your skin's losing the elasticity, it all would show up, right? So what I'm trying to say is each layer of the skin is important. Each layer of the skin undergoes that aging change, and hence dealing with, or preparing your skin to be maintained requires us to target each layer. And that's exactly how I'm going to deal with the skin. This is all that your superficial layers and your deep layers go through the changes. Number one, and the most important, is collagen depletion. Now, like we know, everyone's been talking about collagen. It's there over Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. Everyone's just been going gaga about this collagen, taking collagen shots, boosters, etc. What exactly is a collagen? Now, collagen is a very, very important amino acid, a protein, which is the building block of your skin. As we age, the collagen also breaks down. Like we know, our organs are going through aging, right from your kidney to your liver to your heart. Even the skin, primarily the collagen aspect, is going through a lot of changes for all the reasons that I mentioned. So when your collagen starts depleting, that's when the support to your skin is getting lost, right? So the softness, the suppleness, the firmness that the collagen was providing to your skin is now getting depleted. Also, with aging, there are a lot of hormonal changes that happen, and there are certain hormones, especially in a female, which are very, very protective for the skin and hair. Now that's undergoing a lot of change, especially post menopause, correct? So because of all those hormonal changes, the collagen starts getting depleted, as a result of which the building block is now getting depleted, as a result of which the softness, the suppleness, all of that is now slowly wearing off. Now there's a definite loss of elasticity because, again, like collagen, you have certain kind of elastin fibers in your deep dermis level, which again are losing its support, are losing its consistency, and hence your skin starts sagging. It's not supple, it's not soft, it's very, very dehydrated. The next point is reduced hydration. Now, all of us, as we, in our younger days, have this little lipid layer, a natural moisturizing factor layer in our skin, which keeps our skin hydrated. But as we age, as the factors work on our skin, that hydration level, the hyaluronic acid levels of our skin start going down. And hence our skin feels more dry, dehydrated, and hence dull. Thinning dermis, like I said, the epidermis, which is the superficial most part of your skin. Now that's also something which is the first protective layer that starts thinning down. So because of this, your skin healing capacity goes down, and then any kind of skin concern is here to stay for a long period of time because of your thinning dermis. Fine lines and wrinkles. I think 90% or probably 100% of people above the age of 50 are facing this issue of fine lines and wrinkles. And that's because, again, the skin, the layers of your skin are connected. And because of constant muscle use, because of constant depletion and volume loss at the fat level, all of this starts. The sagging happens, collagen is lost, elastin fibers are lost, because of which one results in fine lines and wrinkles. Of course, age, spots, and pigmentation. Again, a lot of people tell me, post 50, pre 50, I never had this pigmentation. And then suddenly, why am I developing a pigmentation? I do not have any sun exposure. I'm at home most of the days, but I still develop age spots, pigmentation, freckles, etc. The reason being the dermis, as I mentioned, had some skin pigment producing cells. Those also are losing its capacity to produce even pigmentation, and hence skin becomes blotchy, patchy, and there's dyschromia, that's uneven pigmentation. So these are kind of the changes which our skin goes through. A few other changes, like I mentioned, of course, there's decreased production of elastin, because of which the elasticity, the suppleness of your skin is lost. There's reduced sebum production. All your oil glands, which were under the influence of certain hormones, because of those hormones dying, the production of your sebum or your oil starts reducing, classically resulting in a very dry, dehydrated skin. Also, a very important point, your cell turnover, which means the skin which is supposed to be fresh slowly comes up, becomes dead, falls off by itself or gets exfoliated, and that gives way to newer cells. With aging, the cell turnover is very, very reduced, because of which all those cells which have come up, now become dead, are sitting and piling up on your epidermis layer, your superficial most layer, and they refuse to budge. They refuse to get exfoliated by themselves. They do not want to give way to the newer skin. Hence, the common complaint is, I am looking dull. That's because all your dead cells have now piled up and are not giving way to the newer cells to build up. Having listed what is skin, why is skin important, what are the changes that we see, I would now want to get into a little bit of why a skin care is important. Now, what happens is, we all drink water, we all eat food for the survival, for the good functioning of the other organs. Likewise, a simple skincare routine at home, applying certain things, is just food, it's fodder for your skin. Because a lot of times, post 50, post 60s, the certain treatments that have worked as, when you are younger, they do not any longer show the same results as they would earlier, correct? And that's obviously for obvious reasons. And it's also not possible to do all these treatments on a day-to-day basis, because it gets tiring, it's not feasible, etc. What really maintains your skin is actually what you do at home with it. So for me, my plan A always remains getting into a skin care, which is like fertilizer to my skin. And again, it's not about applying 10,000 different products or layering it up. No, a simple 3 to 4 step skin procedure at home, but using more effective products and more relevant products. It's what going to take care of your skin even otherwise. So how does a skincare help us? Of course, it provides the lost hydration and the moisture balance, which now our skin is not capable of repairing. We need an external source, and that's how the layer is going to get replenished, because as I said, each layer needs to be targeted. So this hydration and moisture would replenish the lost hyaluronic acid and provide that little cushion to your skin. A good skincare using a sunscreen, for instance, would protect you from the environment. Now, we are all facing a lot of sun damage, internal, external, indirect, direct. We sit at home, we're probably not out in the sun, but we sit at home with a lot of UV light through our tube lights, our bulbs, etc. We work in the kitchen where we have the blue flame from the gas. That's also equally damaging as the sun. So having a skincare which consists of a good sunscreen would ensure that you are protected not from just from the UV rays from the sun, but also your visible light from the other gadgets, your tube lights, etc. Again, having a routine containing sunscreen, moisturizer, or retinol would ensure that there is a further prevention of wrinkles. Of course, the damage that has been done may not be corrected 100%, but we know for a fact that following a skincare would only ensure that I would now result in less wrinkling as compared to what I was doing earlier. So yes, having spoken of the problems, let's get on to the solution, because each problem definitely has a solution. We would start with a simple 3 to 4 step procedure. That's our daily skincare routine, which is, as I mentioned, the fertilizer for your food, for your skin. Then there are a lot of treatments available, procedures available, and most important, lifestyle modification. Because I believe in a holistic skincare approach, and it's not just about what you apply or what you do on your skin, it's also about maintaining that inner health, which ultimately reflects on the skin. So like I mentioned, going through following a basic skincare routine would take you a long way. So what I classically tend to do for my seniors, giving a skincare routine, consists of an AM routine, that's your morning routine, and a PM routine. My first step would be cleansing. And this is a very, very important step, because through the night, I've slept on a pillow, which has probably not been washed for a couple of days. So all the dust and the grime that has been collected on the pillow or the bed sheet is now on my face. So the first thing that I would want to do in the morning, get up, use an appropriate cleanser to get rid of all that dirt and the grime and give a refreshed look to your face. The next step would be to treat a certain specific concern. Now, not all skins would have the same concern. So depending on what concern we have, we try and target that with a specific active concentrate or a serum. Depending, again, if it's a very, very dry skin, then I give a lot of hyaluronic acid serums. If it is a very heavily pigmented skin, then a lot of anti-pigmentation serums like a vitamin C, a kojic acid, a lactic acid, glycolic acid, etc. That's what my step number 2 would be. My third step would be moisturizing, because now I'm dealing with replenishing the lost hyaluronic acid, which is a very important cushion on my face. And my last step in the morning would be my protection. That's my sunscreen. Because sunscreen is one key ingredient which not just protects us from the sun damage or the other UV damage, it also makes sure that the wrinkling, that the fine lines and the wrinkles that the sun is actually putting on my skin, I'm getting protected through that, because sun is not just about pigmentation, it's also about fine lines and wrinkles. My simple PM routine, anytime post 6 p.m. to around 2 hours before I sleep, is when I would get into a PM, evening skincare routine. Not too different from my AM. It would be a cleanser again, because through the day, again, my skin has attracted a lot of dust, a lot of grime. I would like to clean my face. I would like to, again, correct my concern. Now, if I had dehydration and pigmentation, for instance, that's two concerns, and I can't have like a lot of layering up in my morning, I split my concern specific treatment as an AM and a PM. So if I'm targeting my pigmentation in the morning, I target my hydration, my dehydration in the evening through my specific concentrate. I would like to replenish my moisturizer again in the evening, because I know that through the day, all these abuses have stripped off the moisturizer from my skin, and I would end it at that. Of course, eye care requires special attention, because the skin around the eye is very, very different. And that's the area which first catches your attention because of all that wrinkling, because we are expressive, we use a lot of muscles around the eye, and hence the wrinkling that happens around the eye is more pronounced. So I give a little care to the eye area in the night. Targeted treatments would make sure that I'm targeting my pigmentation through a treatment series like chemical peels, Q-switch lasers, picotoning, etc. Most important is my collagen boosting treatment, because that's number one funda, because I'm actually losing 40% of collagen post the age of 50, and I'm doing it at a rate of 10% each year. So I need to make sure that I replenish that collagen through a lot of my booster treatments, like say microneedling, radiofrequency, my PRPs, my skin boosters, hyaluronic acid injections, etc., etc. Because the eye areas have also gone through a lot of damage, we definitely take care of the eye treatments, again, with a lot of Botox, fillers, microneedlings, PRP, chemical peels, etc. A lot of hair treatment, of course, because our scalp has also undergone a lot of those changes where my hair follicles have now started to reduce. They are dying down. There's hair thinning started, because the hair follicles, the existing hair follicles are now reducing in their diameter, as a result of which whatever hair is now growing out is automatically a little thinner. So there's a lot of scalp show happening. So to address all of that, well, of course, there are a range of hair treatments as well. To me, this is the most important lifestyle modification, because as I said, I'm a firm believer of Ayurveda myself, and I believe we are what we eat. So at any point, at any age, be it a 15-year-old, be it an 80-year-old, we still are what we eat. So maintaining a balanced, a regular diet takes us a long way. So whatever nutrients our gut can absorb, we need to provide to the body, right? So we definitely need to watch out on what we are eating, incorporating a lot of foods containing antioxidants like your berries, your chia seeds, flax seeds, avocados, green leafy vegetable, fruits, which are these orange color fruits, oranges, papayas, your sweet lime, etc. That's a very, very healthy diet when I specifically talk about the skin. Control unhealthy habits. I'm sure most of us at that age do not really indulge in a lot of these habits. But for those who do, smoking can be quite a killer. And that it's not just about the cigarettes, it's also about your shisha, your vaping, etc. Alcohol in moderation is acceptable, but so is everything. And everything in moderation is good. But anything, when it becomes a habit and addiction, that's when you know that the skin's not really going to do well. Sleep, that's something which again goes a long way. So we all guide our children, right? Sleep on time, sleep on time. But I know a lot of people post 70 who have a very erratic sleep cycle. But what happens is, if we sleep on time, if we follow that circadian rhythm, the biological clock of our body, we release a lot of happy hormones, a lot of hormones which are now going to negate the negative cortisol hormones. So sleeping well on time for a number of good hours is very, very key, very essential for a good skin. And when I talk about beauty sleep, it's not about the number of hours. Well, that is important. But for me, what is more important is the time that I sleep. Because if I miss the circadian clock, my skin would repair itself, but it's going to be a way slower process. So sleeping between 10 p.m. to 12 a.m., if I catch up on my sleep between those hours, I know that I've achieved a beauty sleep. Water intake. Now we say water, we are 70%, our body is 70% water. We need to replenish that, because now our water holding capacity in the body and the skin is slowly and steadily depleting. So we need to ensure that our water intake is established. And when I talk about a water intake, I'm not talking about gulping 5 and 6 liters of water each day, which is actually a misconception. I need to consume 350 ml per body weight, per kg body weight. That's the kind of water that I need to provide to my skin or my body. So for example, if I am like a 50 kg body weight. 50 into 350 is around 1.8 liters. So 1.8 to 2 liters is the body water consumption that I need through the day. And as I said, it's not about waking up the first thing in the morning and gulping 2 liters of water. That's actually not a good practice, according to me and Ayurveda, of course. My sister really endorses that. But sipping small sips through the day is what is actually going to ensure an enhanced and a regular distribution of water through the body. Well, of course, stress management. We all know stress is a major killer. So indulging in de-stress activities like a yoga, a pranayam, again, releases happy hormones, endorphins, serotonin, dopamines, and that's something that would negate all those oxidants which are being created in the body, in the system, and are damaging, harmful for the skin. Well, with that, I come to the end of my talk. Yes, and now I think we are quite open to a Q&A session, right?
Thank you very much. Very detailed presentation.
Yes, Mr. Mahesh. Yes.
Yeah, great. So we have quite a few questions that have come in. Some here, some on WhatsApp, etc. So let me get to the questions right away. The first is from Mr. Bridge Dugal, who's 80. His question is, he has quite a few warts on his face.
Okay.
How does he remove them?
Okay. Now, first and foremost is warts can be deceptive because there's a condition known as skin tags or DPNs, which also give a very similar look to your wart. Now, wart is a viral infection. It is contagious. Whereas in these certain growths on your skin, which are just your extra keratin cell, dead cell buildup, are skin tags. They look the same, but the diagnosis is different. Coming to the treatment aspect, it's all one. There is a procedure known as electrocautery, wherein we first numb the area with a numbing cream. We leave that cream on for around 30 to 40 minutes. And with that machine, with the machine, which is the electrocautery, we superficially burn them to get rid of them. That's the only way of removal. Unfortunately, no creams available that can take care of these. So visiting your dermat, it's a OPD-based procedure. It hardly takes around an hour's time. That's the procedure. You need to get them burnt.
All right. We have a question from Mr. Satish Kalia, who's 78, male with diabetes. Too much dryness, especially on the legs, in spite of applying cream. He's seeking a solution. Also, very slow healing of even a small scratch anywhere on the body.
Right. So, like he mentioned, number one, he's 78, right? If I'm not wrong.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. So 78. Number two, diabetes. Now, both of them, as I said, are a deadly combination when it comes to the skin. In diabetes, because there's a lot of bacterial action happening, your blood is sweet, just in layperson's term, and there's a lot of bacterial growth. So that ensures that the skin healing is not going to happen at a rapid rate. In fact, it's going to be even slower as compared to someone who doesn't have diabetes. Unfortunately, there's not much that you can do to enhance the skin healing process. Keeping your sugar levels under control is very important. Even if it's a small scratch or a tiny insect bite, you need to visit your dermat, because these things cannot be left unattended before it gets into a very deep wound, a very deep infection that needs to be corrected. Skin dryness, I could give you certain tips which would help you heal your skin in terms of dryness. Again, because your skin is now not capable of enhancing or replenishing the moisturizer, what you need to do is, number one, avoid very hot water showers, right? So we are in the habit of taking absolutely hot 40 degrees, 42 degrees water showers. So if you are in the habit of taking a very hot water shower, keep your water contact time very short. Just reduce it to maybe 2 to 3 minutes. Or if you can reduce the temperature of the water, nothing like it, because hot water is only going to strip off the natural existing oils that you have, and it's going to render your skin even more dry. So the first thing after your shower, don't dab yourself completely dry. Let it be a little moist. And that's when you apply your first layer of moisturizer. Again, go in for a more medical grade bland moisturizer containing ceramides, because that's something that's going to be retained in your skin. You let your skin be moist, apply a moisturizer, repeat this process 2 to 3 times in a day. And in the night, if you can add a few drops of coconut oil, like a regular parachute oil, into your skincare moisturizer, that would retain the moisturizer through the night. That would help you.
Right. We have a question from Mr. Sanjay Bhatia, who's 64. He sees small white spots on his hands and his arm. This is for quite a few years. Please advise if these can be removed.
Now, if there are a lot of issues on the skin have very similar morphology. They can look alike. So as I understand, what he's talking about is something known as an idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis, wherein, as I mentioned, the melanocytes, the pigment-producing cells, have now lost the capacity to produce the kind of melanin that it's supposed to be given. So these are absolutely harmless. If they're tiny, if they are like less than 2 millimeter in size and they're well-defined milky white, then they are the IGH, idiopathic guttate hypomelanosis. Nothing needs to be done about it. You don't need to worry about it. However, if these spots are gradually enhancing, they're becoming bigger and they're they're kind of coalescing to become bigger spots. That's your vitiligo. Then you need to visit your dermat because the diagnosis needs to be made and then the correct treatment accordingly.
Thank you. We have a question from Katie Davanchi, who, two questions actually. She says, how do we lessen dark circles under the eyes? Sorry.
Okay.
And her second question is, can moles turn cancerous?
Okay. Answering the first questions, periorbital melanosis, dark circles, many a times we think it's an external pigmentation, but what's actually happening is, as I mentioned, the skull of your face, the bone of your face is undergoing a change. All that fat pad which is present around the eyes have now gotten depleted, as a result of which there's a lot of hollowness that's been created around the eye, which gives a perception of darkness, pigmentation because of the light shadow reflection. So again, get yourself checked with your dermat. Let him or her decide whether it's actual pigmentation or it's atrophy and volume loss. If it's pigmentation, then your skin treatment would vary. It would be more like peels and external treatments, creams, etc. But if it is volume loss, then we actually need to replenish that. And botox and fillers are the only ways to answer that.
Right.
So that's question one. Second, mole. Yeah. Luckily, thankfully, Indian skin is not the type where the moles, we don't see a lot of basal cell carcinoma or malignancies when it comes to mole. So if it is a mole which is a couple of centimeters in size, which can expand and attain a certain size for some time, if the mole is undergoing secondary changes, like it's really rapidly increasing in size, it's oozing blood, pus, infection, it's getting painful, then yes, we need to undergo certain investigations. But if that's not the case, nothing to worry.
Right. Thank you. And as you mentioned earlier, for all of you over here, as our advice is always, while Dr. Bhandari is giving advice on various things over here, there's nothing to beat a clinical examination by a qualified doctor. So please do that. Of course, Dr. Kritu Bhandari is available for a teleconsult or a personal consult. Her number was there in the beginning of the presentation, and this presentation will be there on the Seniors Today website on Monday evening, so you can have a look at whatever she has said once again and note down her number. I'll get to the next question, which is from Girija Ganesh, who asks how to improve collagen naturally through food.
Okay, through foods, very limited foods which are rich in collagen boosting. So there are, especially if you're a vegetarian, then your chicken bone broth, that's an excellent source of collagen building. Fish extract, marine collagen, again, very, very good. So seafood, chicken broth, these are excellent sources of non-vegetarian collagen building foods. Vegetarian, unfortunately, very, very limited foods that can really boost your collagen. So if not through natural intake, two products which really, really boost your collagen, again, a sunscreen and a retinol. Start applying those. Have your oral collagen supplements, which are, again, very, very good, easily available in the market of good quality. That would boost a collagen for someone who's a vegetarian.
Right, thank you. We have a question from an anonymous attendee who's 66, having hypothyroidism since the last 25 years. Hypothyroidism since the last 35 years. Since the last 3 to 4 years, she's been having severe pigmentation on the face.
Correct.
She would follow good skincare since a younger days. What is the safe treatment for hyperpigmentation?
Correct. So hyperpigmentation in hypothyroidism is extremely common because, as I said, the skin is very dry. The protective layers are innately absent, not just because of aging, but also because of the hormonal changes that your body is going through. A range of treatments, right from chemical peels to laser toning to microneedling to PRP, all of these would somewhere start reducing your pigmentation, boost your collagen, which would in turn support the pigment cells. So doing those on a regular basis, using an extremely good skincare, popping in antioxidant tablets, collagen tablets are all key to dealing with pigmentation in hypothyroid skin.
This is an interesting question. This is somebody who's anonymous attendee who's 65 years old who says that I have started getting darkening of my skin right now and in the last few years, and I have been applying a lot of makeup to my life. Is this because of the excessive makeup, and what kind of advice should I give my children?
Firstly, if we are talking about facial pigmentation, and so there's a specific pigmentation known as acanthosis nigricans, which is a very, very common pigmentation seen in people with diabetes and obesity. So number one, we need to rule out what's the kind of pigmentation because your treatment would vary accordingly. Number two, yes, excessive usage of makeup over a period of time can lead to contact dermatitis, which is also then a common cause of pigmentation because a lot of these makeup, all your blushes, your cosmetic foundations, lipsticks, etc., contain a lot of these minerals like lead, chromium, etc., which can somewhere irritate your skin and cause a contact dermatitis. So yes, excessive long-term makeup use can result in pigmentation. And if it's a specific kind of pigmentation which is not responding to any kind of treatment, that needs to be assessed, especially when you have diabetes.
Right. We have a question from Mr. Jambunathan R, who is 75. His question is, how common is pruritus? And pruritus, and what is atopic dermatitis?
Okay. Now, pruritus is a broad term which means itching. That itching can, especially in aging skin, can happen because of the loss of hydration. So your skin is extremely dry and it's prone to a lot of irritation and itching. So that's pruritus. Pruritus in 50 plus or 60 is nothing but xerosis, that's dry skin. What was the second question? Sorry, I lost you on that. Atopic dermatitis.
Right.
Okay. Now, atopic dermatitis is a specific kind of an eczema or a dermatitis, which is classically seen in a lot of people who have allergies, dust allergies related to asthma. So asthma, dust allergies, and atopic dermatitis are kind of siblings of the same family. Atopic dermatitis has a very specific presentation where your elbows, the back of the knees are most prone. Atopy usually starts from childhood and can then progress into adulthood as well. However, it's more common in childhood. So your atopic dermatitis is more childhood related. Your pruritus, xerosis, dry eczema is more adult skin change.
Great. We have a question from Neha Bobde, actually not one, but more. I have red color moles all over my body. Can you suggest some remedy? And she also has a black spot on her face, which is getting bigger.
Okay. So coming to the first part, the red spots are nothing but they are known as a strawberry nevus, which is again a very common skin change which we see as we age. That's because the blood vessels in your skin are also kind of losing their elasticity. So they tend to extrude a little blood and they tend to sit on the skin. So these are like your birthmarks which appear at a later stage. So these are moles, nevuses, which are again very, very harmless. They are benign. Unfortunately, nothing can be done about it. Second question is the spot on your face that needs to be examined because, as I said, a pigmentation can be because of various causes. So visiting your dermat in clinic examination would help better.
Right. We have a question from Bhavna T. A couple of questions again. How does one treat uneven skin tone? And her second question is, can xanthelasma spots be removed? Is it safe? Can they come back?
Okay. So first is treating uneven skin tone. Now, uneven skin tone is because of all the reasons that I mentioned: dyschromia, pigmentation, loss of elasticity, hydration, collagen, all of that. All that can be boosted through the treatments that I've mentioned. So right from a chemical peel to a laser toning to microneedling to PRPs to radio frequencies, that's going to help take care of your dyschromia, uneven pigmentation. Xanthelasma is something related to your lipid level. So if you have hypercholesterolemia and your lipids are kind of haywire, even if they're in control, they kind of tend to sit on the upper and the lower eyelid. These can be treated through either a CO2 laser or fractional laser or electrocautery. They can relapse because it's all again related to your inner cholesterol levels.
All right. Thank you. We'll take one more question. We are almost at 5:45.
Sure.
So this is by Girija Ganesh, who's 64. What does one do if one is allergic to sunscreen and alternative?
Okay, now if you're allergic to sunscreen, it's a very, very rare. I mean, it again depends on what the definition of your allergy is. Typically, people would complain of burning of the eyes. Now, if that's a kind of symptom that you have once you're applying a sunscreen, then it's not really an allergy. It's just that you stay away from areas close to the eye. However, if you're allergic to your chemical sunscreen, then there are physical sunscreens available, like your zinc oxide, your iron oxide. Classically, these cricketers wear that little white layer. That's a physical sunscreen. So if someone's allergic to the chemicals in a chemical sunscreen, it's good option to go in for a physical sunscreen, which contains zinc oxide.
There are two more questions, and one of those questions is very important. Is that there's so much, the AQI levels in our cities are so bad right now. Is this harmful for the skin?
Okay.
So that's
the question.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yes, AQI is bad. Unfortunately, there's nothing that you can do, and you can't just be staying at home all day. So you have to somewhere, you get exposed to all of that. What happens is when we are exposed to all of this dust and the pollution, our skin creates these oxidative radicals, which are now damaging. So sunscreen, moisturizer, taking oral antioxidants would help you because you can't really stop it. You can reduce the level of damage that it can do on your skin. But yeah, that's the way. Just wear your sunscreen, repeat your sunscreen every 3 to 4 hours. In fact, there are now dust-free sunscreens available, though it's just a myth. But repeating your sunscreen every 3 hours would do the trick.
We have a question from Mr. Ajay Khedarpal, who asks, can face black patches be attributed to hair dye?
Yeah, again, hair dye contains PPD, and that's a very, very common source of allergy to the skin. So allergic contact dermatitis to hair dyes is a very common skin concern that I've come across in the practice. Yes, you can get pigmentation also because of your hair dyes.
One last question. This is from Shrikant Kulkarni, who's 72. For the last 2 weeks, he's been having slight swelling on both feet and a bit under the eyes. No other indication, but is it a problem with the skin? He asks.
If it is swelling on the feet, then it goes beyond the skin. Under eye puffiness around the skin, around the eye puffiness is very, very common because the water retention is now getting lower. It's getting slowly depleted. There's a lot of lymphatic drainage which is getting affected, because of which puffiness around the eyes is common. But if it's extending on your other body parts, then it needs to be assessed accordingly.
Right. Thank you. And we have one last question, which is from Mr. Murli, who asks, can Dr. Bhandari be reached, please? I'm from Navi Mumbai.
Okay.
So I guess your coordinates are there on your presentation.
Right.
And those of you who would like to reach her can contact her at her clinic in Pune.
Yes.
So you should do the trek now because the roads are much better.
Yeah, of course. Yes, with the new bridge. Yes. We also do online consults. So, thanks to COVID, life has become slightly easier that way. So we feel more connected. So yes, we do obviously our teleconsultation. So yeah, you can reach out to us anytime.
One last question, and this is something which I would like to ask. You have so many ads that are there in the papers, on television, about skin treatments, etc. And obviously there's a lot of hard sell out there.
Correct.
So who do you trust? What is the right thing to to do, and what is it one should be careful about? Is there any, I know it's a little tricky to answer,
Right.
give one answer for.
Correct.
But
So I'll tell you what, of course, now we know that skin is gaining that kind of importance, and hence everyone into the market is now wanting to get into, skin care and skin treatments. A lot of quacks talking about skin treatments is becoming quite a hassle for us as well. First and foremost, check the degree of your doctor. Make sure that the doctor is either, an MD, a diploma, or MBBS, MD, and the diploma. That's and the DNB. So those are and in dermatology, it cannot just be like a course in cosmetology, like a crash course or a bridge course that makes you an expertise or a qualified dermat. So just make sure that you know your doctor, you've researched on your doctor well in advance. That's the only way, honestly, to know the doctor. So yeah, you can't really help quacks, but it's up to you now. The ball is in your court. You need to do your research.
And what about Dr. Google? What do you do about that?
Oh my God. I increase my fees if the diagnosis is through Google's. So please stay away from Google. Google is not your solution. I honestly, in a couple of days, I'd probably put up a sign saying, stay away from Dr. Google. And if you choose Dr. Google over me, I'm sorry, my doors are closed. So it's not always what you read on the internet could be right. So please do not, because as I mentioned, for us also, I need to see a lesion, right? I need to know when someone asked about a wart, I said it could not just be a wart, it could be a skin tag. So when I see the person, when I examine the person, that's how I'm going to pick up the diagnosis. How much ever AI progresses, I think in person examination, especially for skin, because skin is all about feel and touch as well, not just vision. So a lot of times people send me pictures of on my WhatsApp and I'm like, no, what is this? And I kind of refrain from answering it because I need to see certain things in person. So please refrain from Dr. Google. It's not the best thing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for taking time on a Saturday evening. As always, the edited video, as well as though there's not much to edit, but and the takeaways, which we have a qualified medical practitioner writing,
Yes.
which will be there on Monday evening on the Seniors Today website. It will be there. Remember, Monday is the 15th, and our new issue of Seniors Today is going to be out. I'm going to give you people over here who are part of the health webinar will get a sneak peek into the cover of the issue. So can we have the producer showing the cover? This is the cover. You've seen it first here. This is the 50 most influential seniors, all 60 plus, but when they speak, the country listens, and as in the world. Plus, we have a host of listicles, 25 tips to feel great, 10 films 50 years on, which means films of 1974 that are there. Remember Towering Inferno, Roti Kapda Makan, and various other films. And there's a very interesting article, 9 ways to be as social media savvy as your grandchild. Most of these things, which are there in the new issue, which is going to be out on 15th of January. As we speak, we're just putting finishing touches to it, and it will be there, and it's available free of cost. We will be back once again next Saturday at 5 p.m. for the health webinar, for our next edition of health webinar. And thank you very much, Dr. Bhandari, for being here. We answered around 25 odd questions in this.
Wow. And I'm
minutes.
sure the list is never ending. So
and sure the list is never ending. But thank you very much. There have been quite
so
who have asked for your contacts and asked for your number. Somebody has asked for your WhatsApp contact. So please contact her at the clinic, which is the Orijine Clinic, Orijine. You can contact her there, and of course on Monday it will be the entire video will be there. You can take a look at that. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.